It is a ridiculous amount, yes.
It is.
We're back. We wanted to do something different this year. I was interested in seeing if, we could entertain a top 10 list cumulatively, a site list, if you will, like the good old giant bomb lists of yore, where they would sit in a room. I mean, theirs took 9 hours or whatever. This is not going to take 9 hours, I hope. They would lock themselves in a room and just hash this out, Let's right off the bat, the first volley is being fired. Chris Crossley threatening actively to delete Shadow of the Erd Tree from the list.
No, I was trying to put a slash through it. I would never.
Okay.
I would never delete it.
Got it. Okay.
Crazy. Yeah.
I think I thought it would be fun for us to try to build a 10. There were a lot of good games this year. I feel like none of us played as many as we wanted to be honest. But
I what else? I can't just game all the time. That'd be crazy. People would look at me funny. I'd smell bad.
He's right.
Wow. If you're smelling good now, I would hate to see what that is now. Nah, just kid. We're having fun here, folks. So we've built out a list here. I'm gonna quickly count them.
Do, 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 do,
23
do,
games.
do.
We have 23 games on this list. We have to get a list of 10. That we...
What the fuck is I Am Your Beast?
We don't need to all agree.
He made that up.
But we do need to at least be okay. We can't end this until we all agree that we're okay with the list as it is presented. So...
And worse comes to worse, we could also, as like a fourth sort of a fourth opinion almost, have our 3 top 10s and like put them in a little jumbler thing that's like, okay, we take all these
And do what? Feed it to an AI?
No, well, I guess an AI could also do it, but that's not what I was thinking, actually. But I'm sure an AI could do what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you just want to take 3 10s and combine them into 1 10 mathematically. Or you mean at random? That would be fucking crazy. Could you imagine if it was
random.
At random? That would be
No,
nuts.
not at random. No.
Like,
With
okay,
like whatever's in each of our
reputation
number
would
one
be
spots.
ruined.
Black Myth Wukong
the
Game of the Year.
highest Right, yeah.
No.
Pal World number 2.
No. The goal here is consensus. And not just for nothing. I mean, we're going to talk through it, but the goal here is for us to discuss and come away with something that we're happy as our list collectively.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's possible.
I think it is possible, actually. I really do. I think if anybody is going to make this hard, it's going to be Crossley. I can already tell.
That's the issue. That's why I'm suggesting the possible other outcome that doesn't have us literally here forever.
He's trying to remove himself from the equation.
No,
in a way that is very telling. Okay, so I'm going to read off the full list of games here, and then we'll get started. Okay, so in no order. No particular order. This is just how as they came to me. And you guys added some. 1,000 Times Resist, Shadow of the Erd Tree, an Elden Ring story, Black Myth Wukong, Tactical Breach Wizards, Warhammer 40k Space Marine. I got to type the number 2 next to that. It's actually an I think, isn't it? Deadlock, Helldivers 2, Metaphor: ReFantazio. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Balatro. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl. Unicorn Overlord. Silent Hill 2. Pal World. Kunitsu-Gami: Path of the Goddess. Mouthwashing. Marvel Rivals. Crow Country. Astro Bot. Tekken 8. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I Am Your Beast. Good games. I'm Your Beast probably will not end up on the list, but I was just playing a bunch of it yesterday, and I think it's really cool. So I just put it in, but I pretty much just put everything that I played. Nope. You stop that. You stop right now.
Wait, how are we gonna do it?
No, we probably we should go from. Let's just whittle it down to 10.
Do we have a process?
Let's just whittle it down to 10. So we'll start like the.
Okay, I got you.
You see what I mean? Like the definite, and then we'll order it at the end.
And then yeah. Okay, I got you.
But here, I'll say this: anything that we're not going to delete things, we're just going to move them down if it's going to be on the list. I think if we're going to be very obvious with this, I think that based on what you guys have said, there's pretty much no way that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not on the list. Oh, you're moving Balatro.
Do we agree on Balatro? I agree with
Balatro. Crossley is moving Balatro down. I'm a maybe on Balatro, I guess is what I would say. But
that's okay.
We can talk about it. Crossley is just
aggressive.
Crossley is just moving stuff like crazy.
I've got a couple I got one for sure I can spitball. But we should go with the ones that we like know for sure that we can all agree on, right?
Yeah, I think we should all.
2.
Okay.
We should all move stuff, and then if there's anything left at the top, that's immediately gone, and then we have discourse about what's left at the bottom.
Oh, I was thinking we just like go and agree on like Helldivers 2, like we agree on Helldivers.
Yeah, I mean,
2.
I would agree. Helldivers 2 definitely has to be on the list.
Right, so then you could just move that down.
I would also agree that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth probably has to be on the list.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a maybe on Black Myth Wukong.
That's okay.
I'm also a maybe on Black Myth Wukong.
I'm a maybe, but let's see where we end up. I think Metaphor ReFantazio has to be on the list.
Yep.
I didn't play it, so I don't have any feelings. Silent Hill 2.
I would like to see it on the list, yeah.
What are we at right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
This is gonna be really hard. This is gonna be really hard. I can already tell. Okay.
I think Pal World should be on the list.
I would love for Pal World to not be on the list.
I think it should be there.
Yep, same.
And then we'll have to argue about what gets knocked out and what doesn't. Bro, Dragon Age?
I'm okay with it not being there. I'm just moving things. Because there's a lot of these that are literally like I haven't played or don't care about at all. So I'm just moving what I care about, and then we can,
there's a version of this list where Dragon Age is number 10 for me, but unfortunately, there are games that are considerably better on this list that I think deserve to be on there more than Dragon Age.
Yeah,
Deadlock gets moved down.
If we keep doing it this way, eventually everything is just going to get moved down.
No, I've already moved stuff back up. What do you mean?
Oh, I see what you're. Okay.
Wait, what?
He's getting crazy. He's
fucking going wild with this.
I'm seeing ahead,
dude.
I got you. I'm locked
Time
in.
crimes. What was that movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt where he tries to kill
Looper?
Yeah, that was a good fucking movie.
All right,
Ryan Johnson.
That is Ryan Johnson, isn't it?
Yes,
it's pretty good.
For those listening, Crossley has moved Veilguard out of our top 10 list.
Yeah, and back
is
up
no
to the top.
longer in the running.
Well,
Okay.
because I agree with Chandler where it's like if it was going to be on my list, it would probably be lower anyway, if not the actual bottom. And Merced, you haven't even played it, so
I
it's
don't
like,
give a
okay,
shit about that
yeah,
game.
exactly.
Yeah.
So even though I do think it could be in the running of a top 10, if we all feel that way and you haven't played it, okay, fuck it.
That's why all these games are on here, right? Is because like on some level they impacted us,
Right.
You know. So, but it's worth discussing.
So I've moved down everything I have strong feelings about. There's still a few things that actually are on my top 10 list because I did make a list. But that being said, my strong feelings I've moved down. So
I didn't even make a list. I'm kind of just coming at this fresh.
Yeah, no, it's totally. I only made a list just in case you wanted one, but I made that like this morning. So I'm also kind of coming fresh. But yeah.
Okay. All right. If I was going to
Stalker 2 gets moved down.
I Stalker 2 has to get moved down.
Interesting.
It is one of the best games this year that I have played.
The podcast where y'all talk about it doesn't make it sound that way, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's because it's one of those things that is it is an old game in all the ways in which you want a game to be old, and also some of the ways that you don't. So I think that's the tough thing about it. But you know how all those people like started playing Dragon's Dogma 2 and were like, is this game really just going out into the world and doing shit and being spooked at night and fighting monsters and then coming back and selling all that stuff and then weird stuff happens in between? That is exactly Stalker 2. I think the difference is that Stalker 2 carries it a bit longer than Dragon's Dogma 2 did for people. But you know, whatever. I mean, I kind of wish I had played Dragon's Dogma 2 because it's a notable omission from this discussion. But Merced is highlighting Unicorn Overlord right now, and I'm internally shaking my head.
I want it to go down as well. I just don't have like as strong of feelings as some of the other things I moved down. And I moved down Kunitsu-Gami for you guys, by the way. I didn't even play that, so I just assumed y'all had strong feelings about it. But
yeah, it's probably it's a likely pick.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I love Unicorn Overlord. That's definitely one of the best things I've played.
Okay. I want to make a case.
I dare you.
For 1000 times resist.
Are you the only one that's played it?
Yeah.
Then I think it might just lose by numbers if we all care about these things that are already down here.
But hold on, because I mean, I think, like for instance, let me just give you an example of how this kind of works, Crossley.
Yeah, please.
I dislike to some like decent degree, Pal World, right?
Sure.
Now, does that mean by default that I think it doesn't belong on the list? No. I would like it if you guys tried to wine and dine me a little bit on this and you know, make a case for it, not just assume it's going to be on the list because two of you like it a decent amount. Because realistically, I think if we're doing this the way that makes the most sense, or is at least the most entertaining, we're having discussions about every single game on this list to some degree of you know, relevance, right? I mean, we're not going to go in overtime on a game that we've already discussed a million times, right? I mean, you guys have heard me talk enough about Stalker 2 to know that it's very important and that I would like it to be on the list, and we don't need to rehash out all that stuff again. But to be fair, we haven't really talked much about, I don't know, Black Myth Wukong recently. It might be worth kind of relitigating how we really feel about it, and then deciding, does it really belong on the list? You know what I mean? Like things like that. Now, so what I'll say about 1000 times resist is, I think in terms of level of importance for what video games could be. I think it is one of the best games I've played this year for sure. I would, if I was just loosely ordering the stuff that's on the bottom in my head, it would fall above a number of those games, including things like Silent Hill 2 and Balatro, and I really like those games. So, you know, that's kind of, I guess, where my head is at with that. I mean, I think when we talk about how games do storytelling, we kind of, I think each of us ranks storytelling as different levels of importance in the grand scheme. Like, I feel like Merced is like a gameplay above all kind of guy. And Crossley, you're somewhere in the middle. And me, I think storytelling is the most important part of video games for me personally. Like, it's
yeah. I feel like I have to lean closer that way too, just because I can get behind a game that's borderline not a game, that is more so just vibes in the experience, and I can be like 10 out of 10, this is the best thing I've ever played.
Totally.
Until I play the next one, and you know, and that takes over my brain. But yeah, it's I think I have to lean closer to story, which, you know, makes sense because I love good storytelling in film and TV and stuff as well. Like,
and I think by virtue of what the budgets are for games these days, most indie games are starting to head in that. They're either indie games these days, I mean, I'm being so general right now, either fall into gameplay above all else, and that is the focus,
yes,
or it's story above all else, and that is the focus, and you get a little bit of gameplay, or, you know, vice versa.
Journey, Balatro. If
I'm being honest, like, Mouthwashing, similar tier to me in terms of importance this year, like 1000 Times Resist. Crow Country, I find very interesting. I wish I had played more of it because it kind of just slipped my mind. But like, the reality of that game is it's kind of one of those indie game examples of a bit of both. Like, it's gameplay heavy and it's got a decent little story. It's not like super heady narrative or anything like that, but it seems like
it's a cute story.
Yeah, it seems well done, right? So, you know, I mean, I think like games like that, it's fun to acknowledge the role that they play in the wider thing, rather than just being like Black Myth Wukong, we all played it and therefore it belongs on the list. In my mind, I would put it lower than some of these other things, right?
So, okay,
yeah, Black Myth Wukong
like,
would
I get
go
it,
like way lower
for sure,
if it is even on the list. So
for sure. But then there's like the reality of it too, where like, okay, I haven't played Silent Hill 2 or Kunitsu-Gami or finished Metaphor or played Stalker 2, but I understand and acknowledge those on a whole other level than some of these other games left at the top. And even if I played 1000 Times Resist this year and really enjoyed it, I would still, like, I don't know, like, I guess that's maybe not a good example because I haven't played it, so I don't really actually understand how good it could be. But I don't know. I'm just trying to say, like, I'm just more familiar with some of these other games, so it's like going to be hard for me to even, you know,
I mean,
give them, you know, benefit of a doubt, because I just don't have any concept of like how good they could even be. Whereas some of this other stuff I haven't played, I at least know somewhat what it is and can see the vision and why it would be on the list. I think that's kind of where I'm at.
That's the tough part, but the fun part is, right, I mean, we're trying to make each other see the vision. You know what I mean? Right. Like, the fun thing about these kinds of discussions is, like, for me, if I was making a top 10 list and Final Fantasy Rebirth was on it, it would be near the bottom. Not because I think it's a bad game, but because I think it's not what I want out of that game. It didn't grab me the way it did you guys. Help me see the vision, because I probably am going to be forced to acknowledge that this is probably a top 5 game for you guys.
Let me help you. Stop doing all the side stuff and just play the fucking video game, and suddenly you will all of a sudden finish it. And
the narrative
have a
is
good time.
the narrative is a massively driving part of the entire game.
Like just say fuck off to everything else and just play the main path, and it'll be okay. The side stuff will still be there if you want to do it later. It'll be okay. Just finish.
Especially as someone who came from Crisis Core 2. After like I played Remake earlier this year, and then I played or earlier last year, and then I played Crisis Core
and 16.
And
Final Fantasy 16. Gamer of the Year goes to Merced.
And 16, yeah. But specifically for this story, like going into Rebirth, the way that they subvert your expectations in relation to everything that we know about Crisis Core, everything we know about the original Final Fantasy VII, and then everything we know that has been built upon in Remake is just done phenomenally well. And it really leaves you almost like it, like I wouldn't like put it as like, I would call it psychological, not like psychological thriller, but psychological in the way that you are attempting to still piece together what you know of the story that you already learned.
Yeah.
As things start to progress. And I think that is like a massive part of the game. And honestly, I feel like the pacing of the game was made to ignore the fucking side content, because the game has the side content integrated into the main story. You will do all the side content stuff while you're doing the main story. Not all of it, of course, but like you're doing like mini games and shit, doing like side quests essentially, like it just like as you are progressing through the entirety of the game. And it just serves as more of like a way to improve the pacing of the game, because otherwise you'd be fucking fighting for literally like 50 hours. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just
I guess the thing that I struggle with is I did everything. So in 2024, I played Remake and 16. I didn't play Crisis Core because you told me not to, which is probably the right choice.
Just read a synopsis,
but
it'll be fine.
You know, the thing that gets me with this game is I, as good as the Remake story was, it wasn't. You and I both gave Old Game of the Year to Final Fantasy 16. To me, there's something so appealing about the very, I guess, challenging in a new way type of story that 16 is. Like the types of events that occur in some ways are familiar Final Fantasy, but it does have a lot of new elements to it. I think the thing that makes Remake and Rebirth interesting is its association to Original 7. And for somebody like me who doesn't even think Original 7 is the best of the old Final Fantasy games, it lacks a lot of the punch that I need to feel totally invested in what's going on. I like it. I think it's cool. I think probably the coolest part about all of it is the Zack stuff. I think that is actually really interesting.
Playing.
But
story wise for sure, yeah. But I also at the exact same time I would say I would say the combat system for Rebirth is better than the combat system for 16. And it is insanely, I don't know, the amount of attention and the amount of interaction that you have throughout every single fight, if you want to do it efficiently and you don't want to have to fucking like restart or accidentally fucking wipe or anything like that, you really have to be paying attention to so many different facets of game mechanics that they give to you, and they don't treat you like an idiot at all. So like you are constantly interacting and constantly thinking about what you're going to do, what characters you're switching to, what abilities are going to be up at certain times, like how you need to be using their meters for either items or for spells, or whether you need to keep a gauge on the meter just in case something goes wrong. Like just all of this kind of stuff really lends to it's the thinking man's Final Fantasy is what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
But for real,
like the boss fights are so well
they're
designed.
So good.
Yeah, it's insane.
And if you're paying attention and you know what you're doing and you're really learning these characters and understanding what their roles are, then you can figure out the puzzle of the bosses in like half a second, right? And that's it. That's if you're paying attention and you're giving the respect or giving respect to the game the way that it's like asking you to. Otherwise, then you're just going to be banging your head against a wall for some of these bosses for literally like 15 to 20 minutes, wondering like why the fuck it's not taking any damage, or just what the fuck is going on in general. I think as a holistic package, the game just absolutely, yeah. I mean it. I think we all agree that it's going to be on the top 10, right?
Yeah.
That's not even a question.
Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna move it down to another list here. All right. Okay.
So
okay.
are we done with that one at the top? Because 1000X Resist, I'm willing to, because I there are a couple of these that I'm not even sure if I would even put it in my top 10. And I know 1000X Resist just as a piece of art is something that I would like.
Okay, well let's hold on. So let's just slowly start deleting things from the top list. So let's mention some stuff. I think Tactical Breach Wizards is really cool. I'm gonna let it go. It would be in my top 10 list. If you really like XCOM,
yeah, I downloaded it after I saw it on the list. So I wish I could say more now, but all I can say is now I'm aware of it. And same with, a lot of these are all like, on my short list now. So that's huge, but
it's an extremely cool game. It's turn-based, very puzzly, not a lot of frustration when things don't work out because you can rewind a turn pretty much anytime you want. So, cool. there's ways to pigeonhole yourself into bad situations by making multiple bad turns, but you can always rewind whatever the most recent actions you've done are. So I think that stuff's really cool. They always ask you before a turn ends if you're really committing to everything that's about to happen. I think it's just really cool.
Well, that's that is cool because I bet they play with that in a way where like, since they know you're going to be able to do that, they're going to like almost like trick you into like a scenario where you kind of have to. I don't know. Maybe they don't do that, but I could see where they play. A bunch of
stuff is going to happen that's going to be like make you laugh. Like you're gonna do a thing, and then a chain reaction is going to happen that blows your character off the map and kills them, and you're like, oh my fucking god, I didn't know.
Yeah, and you can just rewind. A lot of people like the reviews and comments saying it was like crazy how funny just the game is without like no, I'm excited to play that one.
Yeah, and the story is nice. A lot of people gave it props to being like a kind of a silly little story that's not cringy. I don't know that I would go that far. I think it's a little tongue-in-cheek cringy, like intentionally so, and I don't that always doesn't appeal to me very consistently. So I think if I had to give it a slap on the wrist, it would be, I'm not a huge fan of the writing, but I see what it's doing. But ultimately I didn't finish it, and it didn't keep me engaged enough to want to see it through. So I'm going to delete Tactical Breach Wizards, but still a really good game. I wanted it to be discussed. I'm going to delete Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I think that game is... I
was underwhelmed.
I think that game is almost there. It's like... It's everything that's happening visually, its ability to realize what it is to be a Space Marine in the universe of Warhammer 40k, I think is insanely commendable. I don't think anybody has gotten it as right as they got it. It's fun to play. It's a good length. It's a good difficulty. If you play at the higher difficulties, you do get a suitable level of challenge. And I think it was fun. I really enjoyed the time I spent with it. I wish it ran a little better. I wish it was a bit more stable co-op wise. I had some issues with the way co-op worked. I didn't really like how the secondary campaign, co-op campaign, that's like a separate story that runs parallel with the regular campaign. You can't kind of just play it in the same lobby. You kind of have to like You know what I mean? It's just weird. Like the way they handle that stuff, I don't like. But I think it's a fun game, and I think mechanically it's really solid. It just needs another iteration, and it would be like what I'm looking for. So I'm going to delete that. I think we could delete Marvel Rivals, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good game.
Absolutely.
Like really fun, well balanced. I had probably more fun with it than I honestly ever did with Overwatch.
Yeah.
I don't know if is that controversial?
I think I probably had more fun playing Overwatch than Marvel Rivals.
No, I've got my blinders on for cape shit, so I can't see what's biased and what's not, but I have way more fun with Marvel Rivals than Overwatch.
It just feels like a better game. I don't know.
I do like the direction that they went when it comes to like the damage and the healing. Like absolutely turning the dial up by 1,000,000.
Yeah, the time to kill is really fast if somebody isn't being healed and they're not a tank. There's some balance stuff they could do.
Even if you're a tank.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You're right about that. I think there should be more. There's like an inordinate number of DPS in that game, and not very many tanks or healers, which is kind of weird.
It's some like absurd amount in comparison to tanks. It's like 6 tanks and like 17 DPS or something.
Yeah,
it's something ridiculous like that.
It seems strange. But I like to see like the way the meta is changing in terms of what the optimal team composition is, or good.
I kind of wish the melee DPS and range DPS were separate categories too. That would, I think, break that up and make a little bit more sense visually. Instead of just going to the DPS tab and being like, "What the fuck? This is over proportionate."
Yeah, there's
it's
like 80
some of these
here.
are brawlers,
yeah,
and some of these are, snipers.
Yeah, putting somebody like Wolverine and Star-Lord in the same, or Black Panther in the same category doesn't really make sense because
you have the mages, the ADCs, and the brawlers all in one fucking pool, and it just it's kind of silly, but
yeah. Also looks really nice. I'll say that
it does. It runs great too.
It runs amazingly well. It looks really pretty. I like the art style.
Yeah, I thought the art direction was absolutely nailed.
Yeah.
In terms of like bringing like comic books to life, I thought they did a retardedly good job.
The skins, and I'm not just saying that from like a Gooner perspective. I think the skins are really well done.
They are very well done.
I really like that Dr. Manhattan skin I have. But again, probably won't play that much more of it for a while because I'm kind of tired of it. Okay, this is where things start to get kind of tough. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, I think probably it sounds like isn't gonna make it.
Yeah, it can go. For me,
I just don't care about the game at all.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. You finished it, and I do care about it. But like I said, the things I really care about are down here. So it's like, if y'all don't feel that strongly about it, I didn't even finish it. So what can I say? I
care about it, but again, it would be like a number 10 on my list. I think there are some things about it that are really good. The problem with it is that it is equally good and equally frustrating. So you're kind of just left with like a very middling feeling at the end. I think the ending story stuff is really well done, and I think anybody who's at all interested in Dragon Age as a universe probably should experience that stuff. The problem is they have to wade through 40 hours of bullshit to get to it. Not 40, 20-ish or so, but it's just, that's what makes it frustrating. You're like, for everything about this that is fucking really cool, like story-wise, a decision that they make like 10 micro decisions that make you want to gouge your fucking eyes out. And I think that's an extremely frustrating thing to experience as a Dragon Age fan. But what's even more frustrating is it doesn't even seem like Dragon Age fans kind of agree about this game. There's like a pretty big divide between people who think this game is really good and people who think this game is not good, which I think is interesting.
I do think the game is good. I think it's like just literally shocking to me that it's as good as it is. It's the fact that it even got this close to greatness and then fell short is what's like the frustrating aspects of it, right? It's like, damn, how did they nail this?
Yeah.
And then this, and this, and then it's like, okay. But it is a good game. So I think that's the issue, is that you see the vision and then they just fell short.
It's also very beautiful. Like,
yeah, it's incredibly good looking.
One of the best looking
runs
games.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure about the art style when they announced it.
Same.
By the end, I was won over in most ways. I still think the changes to the Darkspawn design, even though they tongue-in-cheek try to like play that off in the story, I think the changes to the Darkspawn design are less cool, personally. I think it's less interesting to make them little goblins than it was before. There is some really cool stuff though, like later on with the way Darkspawn like interact with other types of creatures or races or things like that. Like they do get interesting in some ways, but the basic Darkspawn being like a little gremlin, I really hate.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not. I could care. It could be worse. It's not that I'm indifferent. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Goodbye,
definitely not
Dragon
better.
Age. It's not better. Goodbye, Dragon Age. Good game.
Could probably get rid of Crow Country.
Yeah. You want to say your piece?
I'm just a sucker for these types of games. The old style, like I don't even know what you would call them. Resident Evil likes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they even have a in the settings you can change it to like tank controls too if you really, really want to. Making it play like just like a classic Resident Evil, like the first Resident Evil game, and 2, I believe. I think 3 is when they stopped doing that. But
Moving through molasses.
Yeah, basically,
Locked
and then
camera.
and then you turn your character, and it's like a fucking you're going like 2 centimeters an hour. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. But the fact that they even added that into the game is really, really fun. I didn't do it that way, but yeah, I'm a huge sucker for these types of games, and then the whole cutesy art style that they went with, that sort of subverts the all the horror elements throughout the entirety of the game, was really fun, and they still managed to make it like incredibly intense. These games, I feel like, are just always intense, just by virtue of the way that the game's controlled, just by virtue of having limited resources and attempting to figure things out as you're going through a map that you're attempting to like navigate and all that kind of stuff. I think that I will always be a sucker for these types of games, and the story is really nice. Honestly, there's like a nice little twist at the end. You really feel like you. I think it took me like 6 hours to beat that game. 6 to 8 hours, something like that.
There's no excuse for me to not finish it, honestly. There's no excuse.
You really, honestly, at the end, you really feel like you got, like, it was absolutely worth your time, and it respected your time completely. Because, I mean, yeah, it was just, it was a fun time. It was a cute game.
It's one of those games that I could see, like, if I get to it this year, I'd be like, God damn it. You know, like, I'll like, wish I had gone to bat for it. But, yeah.
Nah. Get that shit.
It is fun. It is a solid game. It's really, really good.
All right, I'm deleting Crow Country from the list. Tell me about Tekken 8.
Great fighting game. Best one released last year.
I don't even know if there's all that much to say about it other than that it's probably the tightest Tekken experience that I've ever had in my life, having grown up playing Tekkens for fucking ever. I think that in terms of like usability, for any sort of anyone who comes into the game with any sort of level of experience, it is incredibly easy to pick up. It's incredibly fun to pull off combos, and then of course they do the whole thing where if you really want to, you can input the full user combos or character combos to do extra damage, or you can just be like a filthy casual and then just spam like one button at a time, which is the direction that all fighting games are going, and obviously people tend to like that. Or at the very least, it increases the player base to some degree. But yeah, it's just it's the most beautiful, tightest Tekken experience that we've had so far. It stays true to the core game mechanics and adds a few different things like the heat mechanic and the super hit. But yeah, It's I wouldn't say it is amazing enough or it differentiates itself enough from the other Tekken games in order to be put in a top 10 list, but that is also at the exact same time what makes it so fucking good is that it is incredibly true to like the Tekken lineage. So
Yeah.
Do we want to leave it on here for now?
No, that's fine.
I don't think it's gonna make it.
No. Yeah, it's
it's just yeah.
Okay.
I would put up Mouthwashing. I didn't even play it. I watched Chandler play it, and that shit was fucking awesome. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. That's why we haven't deleted it yet. We haven't tackled that yet. Okay, all right. We'll delete Tekken 8. This is going to be a tough one for me personally because I just want to. Do you guys care if I spoil Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
Nope.
I don't think I'm gonna go back and finish it. So
okay,
I think you're good. Did you beat it?
I'm getting really close.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, spoil it.
I'll just say I went into this game with a kind of certain expectation, which I think you guys probably also had, which was, what is this? And also, is it just a linear kind of story thing? No, really. The beginning, the very first like 30 minutes is. And then when they let you out into the Vatican, depending on who you are, you either had the reaction of, oh, okay, this is like an open world thing. I fucking hate this. I wanted like a linear story Indiana Jones game. Or you're like me and you're like, did they secretly make Dishonored? And they did. They made like a Prey 2018. You, at least for the first half of this game, most of what you're doing is meandering around large open environments, finding new tools like Metroidvania or Prey 2018 style that will then allow you to unlock and access different areas. And that could be main content, it could be side content, whatever. Sometimes those things are connected. There's like side quests that are very relevant to the story that you don't have to do, but fill in the blanks for you. This is one of the coolest games in terms of just raw design, like type of game that it is, that I've played in a really long time. That said, I think the combat is fun. Like the hand combat is fun. I think the level of interaction that you have with the world in terms of just picking up objects and putting them in places, carrying things, moving things around, the physics, really, really well done. One of the coolest like physics things. Like if you miss the Half-Life 2 era of games where like physics objects actually played a role in how the game feels, this game fucking rules. I mean, it's all of that. It brings back those feelings. But there is too much fucking climbing in this game. It takes forever to climb, which is funny because you're like, well, it's an explory game. Isn't there gonna be a lot of climbing? There's more than that, and there's too much. And by the way, Indiana Jones in the movies doesn't really climb that much. So, and then the shooting doesn't feel great, which is funny because these Wolfenstein guys they nailed that already. You would think they've already figured that out. But no, they could have done better. Fortunately, you don't have to ever shoot you could play through this whole game and never shoot a gun if you wanted to. So that is cool. It's tough. So here's the reason why I even wrote it down yesterday, because it was not on this list for a while because I was like, I'm not really sure. Like, I think it's really good, but I don't think it has a chance to make it. And then something happened that I think makes this really special. Like if we had a best moment category, it would be like in that. So the story is you're going around finding all these different stones that nobody knows what they do. The Nazis are looking for them because they believe they unlock a power called the Great Circle. Okay, subtitle of the game, whatever. You spend basically the whole game just kind of collecting these stones or like trying to figure out what the origin of these stones are. And it plays into the Vatican as like basically underneath the Vatican, there's a secret society of people who have been around since before the church. that are giants, like literally huge motherfuckers, like 8 feet tall, and they speak a language called Adamic, which is like I don't know what the basis in like actual science is. I do believe that there are references to prehistory languages and things like that, but the idea basically being that it was the language that God first gave to man. That's the reason it's the root of all other languages that would eventually spin out of that. So like Adamic meaning like gave it to Adam, you know what I mean? Like Adam and Eve, that whole thing. So you're doing all this, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm into it. It's like an Indiana Jones story. I'm not, totally sold. You get done with all the stuff you're doing in Egypt. You kind of start learning the language. Like Indiana is learning the language. He's trying to figure out what is going on. There's a really cool secret society area where you like go underground, and all these giant, like, it seems like they lived and were blind because they just lived in the dark forever. I don't know. It's like a whole thing. It kind of reminded me of Uncharted 2, that big like twist with the like mountain people in Uncharted 2 where they like pretend to be Yetis or whatever. And you think for a while that Yetis are actually real in that game. You remember that? It kind of reminded me of that.
About that completely.
But that's not the cool thing. The cool thing that happens is you're leaving this area and they're like, we're going to go to the Himalayas. And you're like, okay. You're climbing a mountain. It's part of the story stuff. You see up on the mountain a fucking battleship, like a Nazi battleship at the peak of a mountain in the Himalayas. Immediately in my head, I was like, the Great Circle is a portal. You get on the ship and the whole ship is full of guys in like tropical uniforms, like non-warm clothes, like all this stuff, who have all died and frozen to death. And you're finding their notes and they're like, oh my God, there was this big fucking flash of light and now we're here and we're freaking out. Everyone's dying. It's a mutiny. It's all like very like environmental storytelling. Like they're all like in cliques. They've all like barricaded different parts of the ship up. It's become like Lord of the Flies shit. They're all dying. You're getting there after they've all perished, but you're like figuring the story out as it goes, and you get to the end and it's been mostly like a tone piece. There's been a little bit of like other stuff like puzzle solving and whatever, but you're really just kind of meandering around trying to figure out what's going on. You get to the end to find the captain has locked himself in his thing and been like, I can't allow anyone else to get their hands on this fucking stone because if other people find out what this does, this is so bad. So he locks himself in there and dies with it like frozen in his hands. And, long story short, other Nazis show up trying to recover the stone. You end up in a big fight with them. Everybody's dying. A grenade goes off and causes an avalanche. So now the ship is just surfing down this fucking mountain and you're like in gameplay while the environment is like cruising by you, the avalanche is going and you're like trying to climb and like get away. It's very Uncharted. It was really fucking cool. And you get to the end and, Indiana's now figuring out what you as the player have already figured out, that it's like something to do with the stone brought them here. And so he reads the thing on the stone and a fucking portal opens up and you get sucked into, you're like teleported to Shanghai in the middle of the fucking Japanese bombing at the start of like the Second World War. And just this sequence of events from like beginning to end made me go, this game is fucking special, dude. Like, this is so cool. Like, you're like now trying to dodge bombs and escape this whole thing and like get out of this. And I was just like, they were cooking when they came up with this shit. Like, this is so unbelievably sick. And I haven't finished it. So, clearly it probably won't end up on the list, but it got me very, like, I was like, okay, if I'm building my list, this is creeping up more and more into like, okay, this game is legit territory.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I only played up until I got to the Vatican.
Yeah.
That was how much I played. So as like whenever they like let you loose and then you have to go down underneath underground, that was when I stopped and I was like, oh, I'll come back to this, and I just never did. But
I think if you could turn on your patient brain a little bit, I could see you really liking it. Because it has so much to do, and it has like so many like little Metroidvania style moments where you're like finding a thing, and then it allows you to go to a place that you had tried to go to before and couldn't. It just feels really good. I think the only problem I have with it is that it didn't really need to be like, I'm 20-ish hours. I think I'm like 18 hours in. The way things are going, it's probably going to be 25 to 30 hours. I don't think it needed to be that long.
That's way longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be like a 12-hour game, like
nope.
12, 14-hour game.
They could have trimmed it down quite a bit, and it still would have been cool.
All the climbing.
Yeah, kind of. All the just like slowly figuring out where you need to go, stuff like that. I mean, all the environments are really big. The Vatican alone is huge. Then there's an equally big, if not bigger, zone in Egypt. So, I mean, there is just a lot. So that's my piece on Indiana Jones. I think I wanted to give it its due because I think it is actually really cool. But it came out too late in the year, and you know, maybe next year I'll be like, God damn, old game of the year, Indiana Jones. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm Your Beast. If you like Hotline Miami, I Am Your Beast is for you. It's Hotline Miami but first person. It's got a bit more mechanics. It's here's all you need to know. Okay, I know. You know, Crossley's making a big X with his hands. I get it. Here's all you need to know. You can pick up bear traps and throw them, and they will chomp on a guy's head, and he'll fucking explode, blood everywhere. That's so sick. It's so sick. Everybody screams as soon as you do something. They're like, oh my fucking God, he's here. It's the closest thing to a John Wick simulator that you could possibly get. It does everything right in terms of if you hit escape, there's a gigantic button in the middle that says start the level over, and you just click it and it starts over instantly. Because you're probably going to play each level at least 5 times.
It's giving me like super hot vibes.
Totally.
Without the slow-mo, but yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, no slow-mo. You're kind of just piecing it together each run, you know, figuring out what you want to do. The levels are really well designed. The soundtrack is really good. I recommend listening to it. Especially if you like the kind of Hotline Miami style, like droning electronic. It's got a little bit of its own style compared to that. This has got a little bit more of like hip hoppy inspiration, things like that, or different genres, at least multiple genres melded in. Whereas a lot of what Hotline Miami was doing felt kind of similar across its runtime. If I had to throw a weakness in, it's that they break up the pacing a lot by throwing in a lot of story stuff in between each level. It'll be like a 2-minute long conversation, not a cutscene. It's like all of the story is told through basically radio chatter, and they make you watch it in between the levels. So it's like the next thing. Style. What's that?
Like Metal Gear Solid style?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But it's all written just to make your character, I guess, seem really mythical in the universe. Like the whole story is literally just a general is sending his soldiers in to come get you, and you're like a super weapon guy. And he basically just wants to bring you back in for one more mission, one more assassination mission. And your character's like, I'm not doing that shit anymore. I've been here for years. This is my forest. Leave me alone. And they just keep doing that in between each thing and like fleshing it out. Or it's like silly. Sometimes, you know, some of the lines are cool, but it ruins the momentum, I think, in a way that I wish they had just kept it. Let's say
cut it down at least
every 5 missions, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, but like every mission having to stop and listen to one of these things, you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Really fun though. Really fun to play. Art style is really nice. Soundtrack's really cool. The main guy is voice acted really well. I like it. It sounds like he's like, you know, when I do the thing where I get really close up to the mic, he's like doing that the whole time. He's like, General, I'm not coming. I'm gonna fucking kill every guy you send in here, okay? You know, and it's like all that, and I think it's pretty well done. I'm deleting it. Okay, We have 2 games left up here at the very top list, and I think both of them should be on the list.
Jesus Christ.
It's 1000 Times Resist and Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Now, rewind like 10 seconds. You said both of these games?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize one of these was a video game. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, we can do this now if you want. I think Shadow of the Erd Tree is better than many of these whole games on this list. And it would be insane not to consider it. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that Shadow of the Erd Tree is considerably better than Black Myth Wukong, and it's hilarious that we're even pretending like Black Myth Wukong belongs on this list, and you guys won't even entertain the idea.
Hilarious that we're pretending an expansion of a pre-existing video game that came out years ago should be in the running for Game of the Year.
Is it number 1? Definitely not.
Is it a video game?
Number 10?
Definitely not.
It is a video game. I mean, regardless of what you call it, like DLC, whatever, it is a video game. Like, that is undeniable.
Elden Ring is.
Hey, was Shadow of the Erd Tree content that you could play when Elden Ring came out? No. Did it come out in 2024?
Yes. On a platform called Elden Ring. A video game which came out years ago.
I don't know, man. Some people are giving UFO 50 Game of the Year. That's 50 games, actually. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, Merced, any words?
I feel like we've hashed this out. I don't even know how many times. It's not its own standalone game. It is a piece of DLC. Is it as an experience? If we're considering these as experiences, I completely agree with Chandler that yes, this is better than Black Myth Wukong and a lot of the other games that are on here.
Yes, absolutely.
This has to be in my top 4, top 5 has to be. I had a ton of fun with Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I think we're allowing
I don't know. If you want a category for expansions and DLC, that makes way more sense to me.
I feel like we're allowing something very pedantic to prevent a good piece of content, a good thing that we played and enjoyed, to be removed from consideration. That is my entire argument.
I'm okay with it being on the list. I don't think it's a game though, but I'm okay with it being on the list.
I don't even know what that means exactly. Like,
I can't believe you don't understand.
If we're considering these as experiences, then yeah, of course. Why not? Why not allow it on there? If it's on there in my mind, I'm still just gonna be like, it's DLC. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking the whole time. You're never going to convince me otherwise.
Correct.
Because that's what it is. That's literally definitionally what it is it's DLC.
Okay,
or
DLC,
you could call it an expansion pack. If you want to give it more legitimacy.
As DLC, it's better than Black Myth Wukong. We all agree with that.
I agree.
Yeah. Nobody is saying that, Chandler.
Yeah,
it's not a video game that came out last year.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that we should remove these kinds of preconceived ideas
then
about
Arcane is my number 2.
Buddy, you're just not getting it. You just don't
I get it.
No,
I get it.
You don't.
Yes.
You're allowing such a simple idea to become complicated by being like, Arcane's a game because I press play. I mean,
no,
really?
I'm being a fucking asshole because
I know
think
you are.
This is that stupid. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's how strongly I disagree with what you are trying to say. And you're like, buddy, you don't get it. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. That's why I'm saying something as absurd as put Arcane on the list. Because it's that absurd to me.
That's what you don't get, is that it's not even close to that absurd. But okay, I'm deleting Shadow of the Erd Tree from the list.
Yes, thank you. Based.
I'm deleting Shadow of the Erd Tree from the list with the acknowledgement that this is very silly.
We should have a new category because you clearly feel strongly about DLC being worth mentioning at our Game of the Year conversation. Best expansion or DLC of the year. Best, I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but then if we had best expansion / DLC of the year, it would be a garbage. It would be.
It sounds like
it
to
would
me,
be.
Elden
It would
Ring
be a
was your
garbage
best
category
game,
most
best
years.
old game.
Yeah,
Huh?
I think that's what Merced just said is hitting on how kind of
So,
the discussion is working for me, is that the quality of the content elevates it beyond what would normally be considered a DLC. Like almost in and of itself, it like is Elden Ring, but it also like makes Elden Ring more than what it was when it came out, 2 years ago or whatever. It takes something that was already good and makes it better in a way that deserves to be considered. That's
sure,
all
I get it.
The argument is.
No, trust me, I understand. So name a year for me where a game hasn't had a DLC or expansion like that. Name 1 year where that hasn't happened.
I mean, what DLC or expansion came out the year before?
The year prior, Phantom Liberty. Now, could I name one off the top of my head before that? No, but I guarantee you, if you give me 5 minutes, I'll fucking find one.
I mean,
like,
to be honest, if I had played Phantom Liberty, I might have felt that way. You know what I mean? We might have been having this discussion then. The problem is I didn't, so that was it. But I mean, that's all I'm saying is like, I agree that Phantom Liberty is on that caliber and more people should have been considering it then. And I think moving forward, I mean, we don't have to do it this year just because now we're having this discussion now. But I think moving forward, these barriers of what this should be I think the whole industry is collectively having this realization that like, I mean,
I think they pushed that this year and it didn't matter. Like Elden Ring's DLC didn't win any awards because yes, it's so good that you want to consider it. And then when you sit down and you're going to vote, it's like, well, fuck. Why would I ever vote for this over a video game that actually came out this year?
Well, no,
That's
I think
fucking insane.
It's not even that. Yes,
it is.
It's not. I mean, you can't tell me that you know what was in the heads of the judges at the Game Awards because you don't. But what I'm saying to me is what it says. This is a hell of a year. Like, this is a really good year for games. And by the way, even if we let it on the list, I don't even think it would crack the top 5, to be honest. But like, the point is like other games that we're even considering are weak compared to this. That says a lot about how good it is.
Yes, I agree. That's not the debate here. The debate is it's a top 10 games list of 2024. It is not a video game that came out in 2024. Elden Ring is a video game that came out years ago, and this is an expansion for it. If it is so good, put it in your old games of 2024. Elden Ring fucking came back to life because of this DLC, and I'm putting in my old games of 2024. Congratulations, Chandler, you did it. That's basically what I did with Cyberpunk, I think, the year before. I could be wrong. No, it was Monster Hunter. But I remember being tempted whenever that happened to do something similar.
Yeah.
Because I replayed Cyberpunk for that DLC, and it was fucking amazing.
We cannot have this discussion as long as we want to because it would make this thing 4 hours long.
Two of us feel one way, you feel a different way. I don't know how it's even a discussion, honestly. I mean, I hate to do the numbers thing. It's just like we've had this discussion like 10 times. And
I was just saying that if you want to make it like a list of experiences, then I mean, it goes
Agreed.
on.
Yeah, we can do that.
But then the problem with we can change the verbiage to be experiences or whatever. But the reality is then suddenly somehow Arcane is allowed in, which I don't think is correct. Do you know what I mean? Like, then it's too broad because Arcane isn't a video game.
Yeah, I don't know about everything with the whole Arcane thing or anything like that.
You can't play it. It's not interactive. But hey, you know what might be a video game under that type of discussion is remember that, what was that Choose Your Own Adventure horror movie they released on Netflix like 10 fucking years ago? It was under the Black Mirror
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, closer than Arcane and could be considered at that point, right? But that's all I'm saying is like, I think that okay, is it called games? I guess, and it is a game. I mean, it is. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm deleting Shadow of the Erd Tree from the list.
Yep.
But
sounds great.
The only reason I'm even reticent to do it is because I want to make Crossley so unhappy, but I don't feel like dealing with the fallout of making Crossley so unhappy because I know it'll just be the most annoying thing anyone has ever dealt with. So we're gonna continue.
Sounds great.
Dude, I said that I was willing to make a concession there. So I'm just gonna.
Yeah. No, me too. I'm actually aligned with Merced. If we want to make it the top 10 games related experiences or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I agree. It'll immediately go on my list. Whatever you want to call it.
It's funny as fuck.
Anything other than top 10 games of 2024, because then it doesn't make sense to me. Okay. But yeah, Merced, I agree. Yeah.
I'm merging the second list with 1000 Times Resist because it seems like it's going to be on there.
Sure.
Okay.
I can agree with that just from everything that I've seen.
Yeah. That's a video game. I agree.
The vibe of it.
So if I'm looking now at this list, at this top list, and we need to start making cuts from this top list. Well, okay. Actually,
so we're at 14. We're at 14 total, right?
Yeah.
So we need to cut 4 of these. Is there anything that you see that you're just like, there's no fucking way this is gonna...
Let's take the opposite approach and go, what has to be on? What do we have to move down right now?
Helldivers 2.
Okay. Okay.
Really? Damn.
I'll hear you out.
That's crazy.
I'll hear you out.
I mean, I made the argument last week when y'all were like shocked it wasn't my multiplayer game or whatever. It's like the fun from that game stems from us.
Mm-hmm.
We can play Lethal Company. We could play whatever that Liar's Bar game. I've actually never played that. But
I holistically disagree with this.
No. I know. Please let me finish and then state your case. If you truly think you could play Helldivers 2 by yourself and have a good time, be my guest. The fun comes from the friends. I'm not saying it's a bad video game. It's so well made, and I'm so impressed the direction they went from 1 to 2. But I mean, look at the other games on this list, dude. You can play most of these by yourself and have a great time. You can't do that with Helldivers 2, right?
I disagreed with him until he said play it by yourself and see what happens, and now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, maybe he's right. But
it is a multiplayer game at its core.
Yeah.
I also didn't play Left 4 Dead by myself ever, but that's one of my favorite games I've ever played of all time.
Left 4 Dead was kind of good by yourself sometimes.
That was one of the things y'all said last week that really made it click for me, because on my list I had like Marvel Rivals, Deadlock, and Helldivers 2, and then y'all referenced Left 4 Dead, and I was like, I could absolutely play that by myself and have a good time. Whereas Helldivers, it's literally not even an option.
I guess the one thing I'll say that I think is wrong about your, I guess, sentiment is you definitely don't want to play it by yourself, but you don't have to play it with us. You know what I mean? Like, you could just load into a random lobby and probably
I meant with randoms. Like, that's where Marvel Rivals beat it, is because I could queue up Marvel Rivals solo and probably have a good time, unless everyone auto locks DPS and is just dog shit at the game. But that's anything. That's not specific to Marvel Rivals. So I don't know. It's totally fine if y'all disagree. And I want to make it very clear, I fucking love Helldivers 2, and I really do think it's an accomplishment. The issue is the list here is fucking stacked.
Okay.
And
yeah,
we're not talking about multiplayer experiences anymore. We're talking about video game quality as a whole and how much it really resonates with us or impacts the industry. And Helldivers 2 is just a really good sequel that's multiplayer. Like, it's not the cream of the crop. Do I want Helldivers?
I think that is yes. so. That is.
Do
so
I want every other
to
game
me.
to try and be Helldivers? No. Like, I don't. What?
That is. I don't even know to say like, oh well, it's fun because like you play it with your friends, and like, why don't you just like play it by yourself, dude? Like the game is fucking gorgeous. The shooting feels fucking amazing.
No,
the situations that end up organically occurring amongst everyone while you're playing are so fucking memorable. The coordination amongst all of your team and everything like that is like so fucking fun, fluid, and fascinating. Going from fucking mission to mission, like. I don't even all the different worlds, the environments that you end up going through, all of this stuff. It's like. It feels like whenever you're thinking about this game, you're literally just like, well, I mean, like, would I really play it by myself? And it's like, I don't think that really matters all that much. There's so many games that I absolutely adore that I probably would never fucking play by myself ever. Like, even with a group of randoms.
I know. I get it. I'm sorry. and that's why I'm trying to frame it like this game is fucking incredible and such an accomplishment. The issue for me is the other games on this list are like better art pieces, video games, you name it. Like that's the thing. It's going against a stacked list.
Let's come back to it.
Any other year, sure.
Let's come back to it. We'll see. Okay. Here's I'm asking because I feel I could kind of go both directions. Does Astro Bot move down to the?
That was going to be the only one to me that was like I definitely want it to go down.
I feel like it deserves it. I haven't played it. I feel like it deserves it just from everything that I've seen. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's absurdly good. That's like it's the only video game this year that I took a lot of notes because I was so blown away by so many different things. And we actually had never talked about it on a podcast, but I took a lot of fucking notes for Astro Bot. That is one of the most well-made video games, period.
Like, I think when you ended up playing it, we had kind of already gotten towards the end of the year stuff. So we we should talk about it anyway, especially when we're trying to order the list because I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to talk about it right now?
Well, we just agreed to move it down, so let's wait. Let's do it when we're numbering everything.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Kunitsu-Gami, Merced. What do we think?
I'm trying to think of what it is that we are going to be eliminating, and I think Kunitsu-Gami should stay there for right now.
Okay.
I think it might make it, though, overall.
Okay.
Kunitsu-Gami is one of the ones where it's like, I haven't played, but I really want to and really respect what they've clearly done there. And versus some of these other ones I haven't played, I'm like,
sure,
I would rather that stay around than something else. I'm
just for how unique that game is. I really want to make it into the list. That game is really cool.
Okay,
just in almost every facet.
What I'm hearing, it sounds like maybe we should move it down.
Move it down. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. All right. It's only gonna get harder. Okay.
Yeah.
This is why I pushed against Helldivers. I was like, guys, look at this list.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. If somebody wants to nominate something to move down.
Metaphor.
I'm alright with that.
Yep.
I kind of think it has to be, so. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Get the easy ones out of the way.
We now have 4 games at the bottom.
I'm doing this for you guys. I don't want it there. I'm assuming y'all want Silent Hill 2.
I'm open to it not being on there, but I would like it to be on there. I'm having a really good time with it, and I think it's extremely well made.
Yep.
But it also isn't it isn't speaking to me as strongly as some of the other things that unfortunately only I play. You know what I mean? Like Mouthwashing, I would put above Silent Hill 2.
Right. Okay. So that being said, Merced, how is your feelings on it?
I don't know. I'm honestly just thinking about what we're gonna have room for because Deadlock goes down. I know for a fact.
Does it?
Yeah, for sure. That game is insanely unique. Okay. I mean, like unique in a way that it is a Frankenstein of a bunch of different other multiplayer games. But I mean, just the way that they did it is
its kind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deadlock goes down. We all want Deadlock to go down.
Yep.
It's like you said when we were first playing that game. I had never had this feeling. It's since I first started playing League, basically.
Yeah.
Where I was literally just like, dude, I really want to fucking play this game right now.
Yep. It was bad.
So yeah, I think that auto goes down. But for Silent Hill 2, in my mind, that it just automatically goes into the top 10. But like I said, I'm trying to think of because for me, Unicorn Overlord is better than all of this. I think Unicorn Overlord is literally better than all of this shit.
I want Unicorn as well. I wasn't sure if Chandler would allow what he was going to fight for or not, but I also want it down there.
I will concede that the story is not good. It is very basic in terms of your overworld, like anime-esque savior of your land type shit.
Yeah.
like all of that kind of stuff. But in terms of interpersonal relationships and the dynamics between all the characters that you meet, it is really fucking nice, really well done in that narrative aspect. The overarching story is shit, but of course, like the number one glowing thing about the game is that there is no combat system that is like this. There is nothing like this style of game where you honestly, if you really, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about Rebirth. If you respect the game and you really learn its mechanics and everything, you will go into a fight, you will lose, and then you will just go, fuck. Okay, I just need to take a second. Let's take a step back. Let's take a look at the way that I have my units ordered, and then switch a couple things around, and then you're just like, this should fucking work. You send it through, and it's like you're fucking running an experiment. Yeah. And when it works, it is fucking just orgasmic. I love that shit every single fucking time, where you are truly understanding the mechanics of the game, interpreting the game correctly and what it wants from you, or not even really what it wants from you, because you can game the shit out of it and create some really OP fucking groupings of units. The experience, there's nothing like it. And I do think that I put uniqueness just like how unique a game experience is like very important to me. And I haven't found a game that is like this before. I was captured by this game so fucking hardcore. I played the fuck out of this shit for like a week straight. I think it ended up being like 40, 50 hours or something like that. But yeah. And also the gameplay itself is incredibly satisfying too. Yes. It's very satisfying to watch all the units like fight each other as well.
Beautifully hand drawn.
Yeah. It's so funny that I'm in this position because I started playing it the day it came out. And I remember just being like, I fucking love this. Like, I think this game is so sick. And then, 10, 15, 20 hours in, I just started to feel myself losing it. And then I think there's two problems here. One is that I started to lose interest a little bit. The other thing is that I started to feel like my choice of platform was hurting me. I played this on the Switch. And I think that playing this on the Switch was a mistake. Yes. That said, I do think that had the story been a bit more interesting, it would have gripped me a lot more. But I agree with pretty much everything you're saying mechanically, and how I felt about it initially was really strong. So I could see it. I could see it being on the list. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move it down.
Hog. All right, this is another one for you guys. Stalker 2, is it going? I assume it is, right?
In my heart, it's just automatically on there, to be honest.
So put it down.
I didn't even play, I played maybe 5 to 6 hours of it, but I mean, it's
Shit.
I already know for a fact,
Yeah. All right.
This is only getting harder.
Speak for yourself.
We have 7 games on the bottom list, and we still have 7 games on the top list.
We nixed Black Myth Wukong here, right?
Yeah.
So take that out.
Okay.
And
then... what do you think, Crossley?
I'm okay with axing it. I think it deserves its flowers, but we've talked about it plenty. I guess if y'all don't want it there, it's fine. I'm not going to fight for it. But Balatro would be my next one where I'm like, is that going? Because I want it to.
Okay,
It'd easily be my number 10 or 9, but I do think it's incredible.
I could see it at a 10. Here's where the horse trading begins. Because I would much rather have Balatro than Pal World.
Okay.
But if you guys feel the opposite, then I'm fine with that. I just don't want Pal World on the list.
Dude. So the only thing, and I'm basically sabotaging Power World here. The only problem with Power World is that it's obviously has a lot of inspiration from Pokemon and everything. It's done phenomenally, but it is it's a research treadmill is essentially what it is. That's the entirety of the game is kind of you research the thing so that you can get to the next thing, and then you set up automation to make things that you've already made previously to go to the next thing. So yeah.
That's why I think it shouldn't be on there is that it's the best version of that kind of game so far. They made Craftopia before this, which was great. Valheim and other things like that existed before this. It's the best one of those I've ever played, and the creature creation, it's actually your slave that's just going to run your camp for you like thing. It's really not a Pokemon ripoff to me. There is battling and stuff, and that's cool, but it's clearly an afterthought to the crafting and building up your, like you said, research and getting to the next research tier and all that. It's all supplementive to that, which is not how Pokemon works at all. The battle is clearly an afterthought. The creature slaves are sick, but it's just the best crafting, research, grinding game I've ever played, I think. But that being said, it is just another one of those. It's not really doing that much unique other than blending the slave capturing mechanic into that, which is fucking sick. And I love that game, but I'm definitely willing to concede it, especially for Balatro.
And to add on to that, whenever I did play Power World, there was a lot of jank. Like,
oh, interesting.
Is it still early access?
I got a stable version of it. I think it is actually still sure early access. Yeah.
I feel like there's a possibility that when this game becomes 1.0, assuming Nintendo doesn't win that whole situation.
Yeah.
But
no, they've already changed the things. They changed them to like triangles or something. But yeah, here, now I'm about to share something with you guys that y'all don't have to look at too deeply. Where's our fucking group chat? But I will be following Pal World very closely ever since I got into it. And so they basically recently posted this on Twitter saying that they're going to be developing the end game. Basically, it's like they're working on what seems to me like full release and having like a goal to work towards completion and stuff like that. So
yeah, they're still working on it.
Yeah, I'm eager to see this game at full release and see how its final vision is.
For me, the thing I'm the most interested in with this, because I did play Craftopia when I think we were all part of that brief excursion.
Yeah.
I think seeing the improvements between Craftopia and Pal World, I'm much more interested in seeing what they do next with their whole new game, especially now with all this fucking money. Holy shit, these guys made a lot of money on Pal World. So I'm curious to see what the next thing is, because because it seems like to me, the way the kitchen sink approach to game design, to me as a player, doesn't always interest me very much. But I think they keep taking it to new levels of absurdity, which makes me really like, is the next one also got Tony Hawk mechanics or something? You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to keep doing?
I definitely foresee the next thing being basically Dokkaebi. Are y'all familiar with that by name? It's not out yet.
It's
the thing that's going to get made after Crimson Desert?
Right? Yeah. The life thing, right? Yeah.
I fully imagine their next game is just going to be Pal World plus everything that seems to be in Dokkaebi, just like a bunch of crazy ass shit. But also with your friends.
Dokkaebi felt a little bit more grounded than even Pal World, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But imagine like that plus Pal World. That's what I think their next thing is like some just really, I don't even know how to describe Dokkaebi, but it seems like it's got a lot going on, basically.
So
I'm cool with cutting it. I love it, but I'm cool with cutting it.
Okay, so it sounds like we're cutting Pal World, but we might be moving Balatro down.
I want to. I think that's phenomenal.
Merced.
I think Balatro deserves to be there.
Okay. I can allow it. I mean, I played a decent amount of Balatro. I only played it on phones. I actually think phones are the coolest way to play that game, with the exception that your phone battery is suddenly non-existent when you're done playing it. But I can admit that I think Balatro is deserving of a spot on the list.
All right, so I think at this moment I would like to nominate 1,000 Times Resist out of respect for, how you have fought for it and portrayed it. It seems like I should respect it. Now, this is where, if you feel like versus these other things that it's not going to make it, okay, I'll concede that too. But you seemed to make it seem like it deserves to be
This is
here.
where
And
things
this
get really tough, because the middle of my top 10 list would have been some combination of all of these games. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
4 to 8 would have been some order of all 4 of these games for me.
Right. Yeah. And none of them are on mine except, yeah. So, yeah. No.
Yeah. Man, I feel like there's no version of this list where Helldivers 2 doesn't make it.
Okay.
I kind of feel that way. I think Merced agrees.
It would feel like criminal. The amount of time that I put into that game.
Yeah.
And
so
the amount of like the memories of how much fun we had playing that game. It just feels weird to have it not be there.
I agree. So here's where things get really hard. I think we only have one spot left, right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, right. 1, 2.
Yep,
yeah, we have one spot left and 3 games that I think all are good.
This is totally up to you guys.
What's left on the
In my mind, what I'm thinking is Mouthwashing better than Silent Hill 2?
I know. Really I'm thinking the same thing. And in some ways, yes. But in some ways, of course not. That's ridiculous.
Which one would you pick to experience for the first time again?
I mean, that's really hard because Silent Hill 2 has already existed.
Yeah, Silent Hill 2 is a remake as it is.
That's really what's like killing me is that Mouthwashing it was so awesome as a new experience.
Yeah,
it was just
I agree.
So well done.
Sounds like it should be Mouthwashing.
It has a lot of impact that I think
So y'all are saying no chance for 1,000 time, huh? That's crazy.
No, actually, for me, I mean that's where I'm starting to get panicked here, is because I think 1,000 time,
because that one beats the other 2 for me. As someone who hasn't played all 3 and is looking at all 3 and is like, which one do I want to play after this? It's 1,000 time Resist. That's the only one of these that even seems appealing to me. So that's the only input I have.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough because, like, for instance, I like all 3 of these games more than I like Balatro, but Balatro feels like it also belongs on the list. I like all 3 of these games more.
We could get rid of Balatro. I would be okay with that.
Wait,
I had fun with Balatro.
No.
I had okay. Listen, I had fun with Balatro, but I wouldn't be like, "Yo, I'm pogged the fuck out. Like this is the fucking best game I ever fucking played my fucking life." No, this is some shit. Balatro is some shit that I play if I have like a stream on the fucking second screen. All right. Like, I don't fucking play Balatro and I'm like fucking intensely fucking playing this weird ass Joker poker game. All right, like. I'm okay with I won't lose sleep if we get rid of Balatro.
Rossley, go ahead.
We cut Balatro. We cut Silent Hill 2.
Wait. Oh, fuck.
Wait, you say cut Balatro and Silent Hill 2?
Yep.
I think I'm leaning that way.
Yep.
Are we serious?
Yep.
Is this fucking for real right now?
I think it would be cutting. I think cutting Silent Hill 2 is fine in my mind because it is at the end of the day a remake. As amazing of a remake as it is, and amazing of an experience as I had playing it, I think that Mouthwashing just having come out this year holistically, its story, it's everything. I think that it really deserves to be there. Just I had so much fun even just watching you fucking play that game. It was such a cool, unique experience. So.
We're really cutting Balatro? It feels wrong somehow.
No, it was going to be like my number 10, so it's fine.
All right. I'm deleting Balatro. I'm deleting Silent Hill 2.
That's crazy, bro. I can't believe it.
It kind of is hurting as I'm doing it. And I'm moving down 1,000 times Resist. And
yeah, but see, then you look at this list and you're like, oh, shit.
It is a pretty fucking good list.
The other option other than Balatro is Helldivers, and
I think Helldivers is better than Balatro.
Yeah, I actually agree with
absolutely.
that. Yeah, actually, absolutely
Okay.
agree with that. Yeah. I want to be clear, Helldivers was on my top 10. The only reason earlier I was saying it wasn't going to make it is because I was thinking in my head I have to concede things that I haven't played to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm giving that benefit of a doubt that, okay, they would probably pick these over Helldivers anyway, and I'm not conceding on the ones I want on the list, right? So it's like I'm willing to concede Helldivers. But Balatro was also one of those for me, so it worked out.
Okay, so we've gotten to a good break point. If we want to take a quick break, what I'm gonna do really quickly is I'm gonna read the 10 games that we have settled on. But actually, I'll wait till Merced gets back. So we want to take a quick water break, and Merced's back. Crossley, how are you feeling?
We can still take a quick fiver or whatever.
You want to?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. And when we get back, I'll read off the list as it is right now.
Can't believe how this guy fucking treats me just because I think DLC isn't a video game. Ridiculous.
Okay. Let's order the list. I'm going to read off the 10 games that we have. In no particular order. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Astro Bot. Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess. Metaphor ReFantazio. Deadlock. Unicorn Overlord. Stalker 2, Heart of Chornobyl. Helldivers 2. 1000 Times Resist. And Mouthwashing. 10 games. What is our number 10? Here, I'm just gonna start.
My number 10?
Mm-hmm.
Or
just somebody throw out a number 10.
It would be Helldivers. Maybe Deadlock? Those would be my bottom two. Helldivers, Deadlock.
I'll put Kunitsu-Gami pretty far down, to be honest.
Oh, interesting.
Are you vetoing Helldivers 2?
I think Helldivers 2 is better than Kunitsu-Gami, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know if I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. Let's try
Crazy
this on for
pick,
size.
actually.
Well, how do you feel about Deadlock at number 10, Merced?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm alright with that too.
I kind of think so too. Somebody want to put Deadlock there?
Yeah, am I moving it or retyping? Okay.
Either way, doesn't matter. Okay. Number 9. I think.
For me, it would have to go to things I didn't play, so I don't know if y'all even want my opinion.
No, I hear you. I'm open. Let's see. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so let me ask you guys this. Between, let's say, Stalker 2, 1000 Time Resist, Mouthwashing, do any of y'all think one of those should be closer to the bottom?
Number 9 might be a good spot for Kunitsu-Gami.
Okay. That's hilarious. That's your response to the question. So is it Helldivers 2 next then?
I could see Helldivers 2 being next. What do you think, Merced?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Wait.
Give us a number 8. Give us a number 8.
Yeah.
Metaphor.
Oh, absolutely.
Zero
not.
chance.
All right, so
no way.
Dude,
Yeah,
y'all are actually gonna slurp this fucking JRPG shit up this hard? It's another JRPG, okay?
You're Mr. Final Fantasy.
Huh?
What?
What'd you say?
You're Mr. Final Fantasy himself.
You know what I mean when I say JRPG.
No, I
I'm
know.
talking
Yeah, I do.
about
Yeah.
I'm talking about 4 motherfuckers in a row. JRPG.
But did you know that you can reorder their position in the row?
That's
Like,
amazing.
Front and back
I love that.
line at any point. You can
You
change
can
their
change their archetype.
you can change their class mid battle.
Right? Yeah, dude. Crazy.
Them being able to move backwards and forwards is amazing that it took them about 30 years for a JRPG to do that.
No, actually, there were other ones doing that a long
Oh, well, there
time
you
ago.
Well, there you go.
So,
It's just a JRPG,
It's not.
bro.
it's not.
It's a clearly it is a good JRPG, but
Spoken as somebody who's played every Persona dungeon ever up until this point in a on a second screen while I watch something or listen to a podcast, I think Metaphor is something special gameplay wise. So I'm willing to go to the mat on that.
Yep. Same. I don't want Metaphor that low.
Okay. Well, it's going to start getting a lot harder. We're approaching, for me, I'll just say this. Maybe not 8, but we're getting close. I think Astro Bot's probably in the bottom half of this list. Did we delete something? What just happened?
yeah, I got rid of Kunitsu-Gami.
Oh, okay, from the upper list. Okay.
Yeah.
Astro Bot is in the bottom half of this list for me. Unicorn Overlord, and I would probably put Mouthwashing somewhere in the bottom half as well.
I agree with what you said other than Astro Bot. That would be up higher for me personally.
Where is Unicorn Overlord?
Not in the bottom half.
So then
That's
it's
for-
Helldivers.
That's for damn sure. Yeah, we can put Helldivers there.
Okay.
That makes sense. Yeah, this makes sense. It's like a grouping.
Here's the hardest question of all. What's number 1?
I know what number 1 is.
It isn't Final Fantasy.
Who knows?
Mine is Unicorn Overlord.
Holy shit.
We've got some work to do, boys.
Dude, some work to do.
That is an amazing
Oh,
fucking game.
God.
I agree, Merced, but we got some work to do wherever this goes. Number 7, for me, again, leaning closer to those 3 I mentioned, which I think you said, Chandler, Mouthwashing would be your lowest of the 3 at this point. So is that where we're at with that, 7?
Would you put 1000 X Resist above Mouthwashing?
It was going to be tough even on my list. I think where I'm feeling with it right now, I would put 1000 Times Resist above Mouthwashing. Yeah, but I mean honestly, they're probably right next to each other like that. So maybe number 6 is 1000 Times. I don't know. I personally would put them both higher up, but I mean they're very close for me. So
I mean, those can go here for me, obviously. So
I would put Astro Bot at 7. That's where I'm at.
Oh shit! I mean, you guys played Astro Bot.
For me, Astro Bot's above Metaphor, and
oh fuck. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
All right. How about this? Then? Let's go. Let's try it out. We can always reorder it. Let's put Mouthwashing at 7.
Okay. And that is only because I haven't finished Metaphor. I feel like that could have shifted had I finished it. But I've played a fuck ton of Astro Bot, so there's, yeah.
Well, all we did was delay this conversation a little bit more. So 1-6, because I really.
It seems like it's going to be 1000 X Resist.
That's fine with me, but if you don't want it there, Chandler, I can concede one of the things I care less about.
What would that even be?
Right here, unfortunately have to be Metaphor or Unicorn or Stalker.
Shit. Okay, all
If
right.
it's not
I'm
1,000.
ripping this Band-Aid off right now.
Okay.
Let's try putting Stalker 2 at number 6.
Merced, how do you feel?
I'm all right with that.
Okay.
That is incredibly surprising because that the implication is that it is 1000 X Resist is better in your mind than Stalker 2.
I think that's true. I seriously, listening to you guys talk about Stalker 2, that podcast I wasn't on, I was like, I don't want to play this game at all. Y'all made it sound like borderline not fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that fun is what they're going for.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
But
Yeah.
I mean that's what makes it special. I mean what Merced
Fair
said
enough.
what Merced
I play
said
not-fun games
is right, where he was like, something different or something unique that you can't get anywhere else is more important to me. And to me,
Yeah.
Stalker 2, you cannot get that anywhere else. Even other games that are kind of like it, they never quite get to this point. And I think,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, again, this is why it's a communal list, because Stalker 2 would be like number 2 on my list. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
but let's do, I cannot allow Astro Bot to be higher than number 5. I
Okay.
can't.
I can, yeah.
I can't.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's crazy to me. I thought you loved that game.
I do.
I'm shocked you feel that way.
I love all of these games, but I just can't. I can't allow this to happen.
That's crazy that you feel that strongly about that, but I'm fine with that considering what's left. So
I'm gonna say something here, and you guys are gonna think I'm
Yeah.
completely insane. I think of all the games that are remaining that deserve to be number 1, I would want it to be Unicorn Overlord.
Yes.
Or Metaphor, which would never happen.
that's interesting. Let's do number 4
For what?
for the list. What the fuck do you mean?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000 time resist.
Yeah, let's just do it.
All right. Yep. Number 3 is Metaphor.
Sure.
Number 2 is Rebirth.
My number 2 is Unicorn, but I guess Chandler's feels otherwise. So it is what it is. I'll take what I can get.
I just can't allow Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to be the number 1 game of the year.
That is a horrible reason to be the
can't.
split vote.
I
That is
really can't.
That is crazy to me.
What is happening
But
here?
fair
with
enough.
this?
I have no clue. The breakpoint is The breakpoint is changing. Hold on, we got this. Hold on. I got it. Wait, what the fuck?
Oh,
Stop
no.
touching it.
Oh no.
There. I got it. I changed the breakpoint. I'm a god.
Yeah, but now when you type, it's all fucked up.
Oh, fuck me, dude. Fuck! All right.
Okay, maybe the list is saying that it doesn't want Unicorn to be here.
That's wild to me. I don't think I just don't think that I would rather it be Metaphor than Rebirth or Unicorn if that's how it's going to shake out. You know what I mean?
We can always change this. Hold on. Let's
Yeah. Fair enough.
Let's look
It's
over
just like
everything.
to me, and tell me if I'm off base here. That's totally fine. However it shakes out, all good. But to me, it feels like whatever number 1 is should at least be agreed on by 2 of us, right? And by that I mean like you haven't even played. Oh no, you did play some Unicorn. Okay, yeah, no.
I played a lot of it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. I thought it was just me and Merced that played it. So
I'm about halfway through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, no. So that would make sense. Okay.
I mean, I'm like thinking through my list now, and I think Metaphor would be mine. Metaphor would be my number 1 for my list. So
yeah, Out of these top 3, my number 1 is obviously Rebirth, but if it could not be that, if both of y'all were like, no, it would be Metaphor over Unicorn, I think.
I don't think there's
But I
any
want it to be
way.
Rebirth.
I don't think that there's. Merced, what are you thinking? You're like
Dude.
deep in thought right now.
So
the fucking game
so
is insane.
I adore the fuck out of Unicorn Overlord. To an insane degree, and it is absolutely like far and away my favorite game of the year. And the thing is that, like Crossley was saying, is from what I've gathered, you guys really fucking liked Metaphor. So, but then in that case, it would be 3 is Rebirth, 2 is Unicorn Overlord, and 1 is Metaphor.
I don't know that Crossley would want that.
No. Let me be very clear. If Rebirth is not number 1, if that's not possible, then it's Metaphor for me. I don't care what happens after that. Rebirth can be 3. Like, that's whatever. If y'all both say there's no shot Rebirth is number 1, then okay. Merced, that's if you have no argument there, that's fine. I get it. But I don't want it to be Unicorn Overlord for it being Rebirth over like Metaphor, but I don't want it to be Unicorn Overlord for sure. For number 1.
Yeah. I all I'm saying is that I just played Rebirth, and I played Unicorn Overlord like however many months, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, and I still, like, in my mind, clearly, like, Unicorn Overlord is the winner, like by far.
Okay, so then let's touch base with Chandler, because you're strongly in that camp, and I know Chandler is strongly not in Rebirth camp. So Chandler, you would pick Metaphor over Unicorn? These game names.
I know. Yeah, it's true. You're just saying Unicorn. This is like more times that I've said Unicorn in my entire life.
Yeah, literally.
What would you choose, Unicorn or Rebirth or Metaphor?
Yeah.
What about Mouthwashing? No. Game of the year, Mouthwashing.
Let's bring in Erdtree.
It's someone's game of the year.
Yeah, Erdtree number 1 is sneaky.
From the top rope.
Yeah. It's like in fucking Raw when they come out from the backstage. They weren't even on the billing, and then they win the fucking. Okay. I would personally put Metaphor above Unicorn. I also think it's really funny if Unicorn wins. So that's kind of why I was okay with it. But but I
think
personally,
it's its rightful place.
I mean, we did all 3 of us play Unicorn and like it. I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but I would put Metaphor above it. Yeah, for sure.
That's the thing. I played like all 3 of these, and I have a very strong opinion about one. And if that one can't be it, I think it's Metaphor. But I'm like, so that being said, right, there's no way it's Unicorn is how it reads to me.
Okay.
And that being said, I'm surprised it's not Rebirth for Merced. Because he seems to have no strong feelings about Metaphor. Like, I'm sorry it's not Unicorn. Trust me. Like,
because I'm thinking about this in a communal way.
Right, exactly.
I mean, me too.
If I'm not thinking about it in a communal way, then, and it was like, let's say it was just me and you, and then you were like, there's no fucking shot, then I would be like, all right, well then Rebirth is number 1 and Unicorn Overlord is number 2. Like, but I mean, in my heart, Unicorn Overlord blows everything else out of the water.
No,
so
yeah,
it's like,
and
right.
But since it's all 3 of us, and Chandler couldn't even beat Rebirth.
But he doesn't think it's a bad. He just went and did all the side stuff. It's his own fault he didn't beat it, to be blunt. You know what I mean? It's literally his own fault.
I'm just saying it logically makes sense. That would be like, all right, well, then I guess like you put a fucking Metaphor. Yeah, why not? It's not like I didn't have fun playing Metaphor. I was like, damn, I'm tired of 4 people in a row.
Hear me out. We flipped the list upside down. Deadlock number 1, Kunitsu number 2, Helldivers number 3.
That is someone's game of the year list. It's
Valve's.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's try this out then. I'm gonna move Metaphor down to number 1. And I'm gonna move.
Dude, why does
Unicorn.
Google Docs suck ass? It doesn't even have like auto formatting.
Yeah,
what the fuck
no,
is
I
happening,
don't
dude?
know.
Get your shit together, Google.
Okay.
Wait, what is this? Unicorn Overlord is number 2.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck are you doing?
I think we all
Sorry.
understand
This guy's
that
trying to
Rebirth
sneak
is
this
number
shit.
1.
No, I don't even want Rebirth on the list.
Like I'm not paying attention or something.
I'm not trying to sneak anything.
Chandler, dude. If you want Erdtree on the list, if this is what this is about, like
Yeah, dude, he's sabotaging.
you're literally not making
No.
any sense.
Oh god, I'm gonna
What
go
do you
back
have
in.
against it?
I'm gonna do like a post recording edit where I just reply like you guys every time you guys say Rebirth, I'm just gonna dub over it with Shadow of the Earth Tree. And then
That would be so good. It's just like a robot. It's like a shitty Alexa.
yeah. Crossley's like, there's no way that Shadow of the Erd Tree isn't on this list. Oh my god.
It's a video game.
Oh my god.
Wait, so are we okay with the ordering of this overall?
I still think I might move Astro Bot higher, but like
I mean, that's you.
like it's me and Crossley really. Like I would put Astro Bot lower. Sorry, like as in like number
higher, literally.
yeah,
higher.
like literally
I see.
higher, like 6
I
through
see.
10 somewhere. But yeah.
Yeah, it's the opposite for me. Astrobot could be 4.
Okay. Okay.
So here's where I'm at. And
Uh-huh.
just tell me now and I'll back off, and then it's
Okay.
Metaphor for me.
Okay.
But it seems like we all have a number 1, and that both of y'all's number 2. What's your number 2, Chandler? Out of the top 3.
Out of the top 3,
Out of the top 3.
none of them.
But I'm asking you, like, we're here now.
That's really tough. I mean, I felt the amount of time that I played Unicorn Overlord and Rebirth is probably about the same, and I felt stronger about Unicorn Overlord than I did Rebirth. However, the reason I made that total blunder is because for some reason I was like, well, I think Rebirth probably is number 2 for these guys. But no, Merced really likes Unicorn, so
I fucking love that game. So I think we've come to a conclusion here.
here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually
No, because realistically, I'm not sure if I like Unicorn more or not, but I think it would go Metaphor for me at the end of the day over Unicorn.
just trying something out here.
Yeah, that changes nothing for me.
Well, now you should be fighting for Astrobot to be higher than Stalker too.
Me?
Yeah, right?
Astrobot stayed in the same place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you
What's-
definitively think it's better than Stalker 2, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's better than both, but this is a group list. Like Astrobot's number 4 for me, regardless of what's 5 and 6, right?
Yeah,
Like I don't care what's under it. It's above all those. So I'm conceding that, okay, now Chandler has just changed his mind. The Stalker 2 is better than 1,000 times Resist, so he's swapping those, which sure, you can have that. But yeah, if I get to pick, obviously Astrobot goes to 4, but
Listen, guys, these are all great games, okay?
yeah.
I love all these games equally.
Yeah.
No, Rebirth is the best one. Far and away.
So what are we doing about our 1, 2, 3 situation here?
I'm genuinely shocked.
You said if we moved Rebirth to 2, would that ruin it for you?
Do you genuinely think that Rebirth is better than Unicorn Overlord?
Oh, fuck.
That's the real question.
Me?
No, I'm talking to Chandler.
I was about to say, because yes, for me, obviously.
Because Chandler's making the proposition. The thing is that I don't want this to be a farcical list.
I know.
And if you're only doing this for appeasement, I can't stand by that.
Whoa. No, it's not that. It's that I think they're on a similar level of quality, and probably if I was making a list by myself, neither of them would be on it, or if they were on it, they would be really low together. Like they would be near each other for sure. Yeah. I personally had more fun playing Unicorn Overlord, but it's also a type of game that appeals to me more, like generally, than Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does. That said, I can acknowledge the fact that there are things that Rebirth is doing as a video game that scope-wise don't even make it a fair comparison. Like, it's not
and that's the thing, too, is like, you know, that is so true, and it's like, even beyond, like, the scope, what they do accomplish is, like, really impressive, and what they try to do is really ballsy. It's not like they literally just one-to-one like Silent Hill. They didn't just kind of play it safe and do the game but made today. They are doing something different here, and it is like not just like, oh, but this happens instead. It's like there's no way when they're making this that they know people are gonna fuck with this. I feel like they're like, damn, dude, I hope people fuck with this, because we're not like just doing the safe choices. We're doing the fucking risky choices, and it fucking, in my opinion, paid off. It is like so worth the journey. There is like good gameplay, good story, good music, good graphics. It's everything a video game wants to be, all in one package, as side content, main content, mini games, fucking relationships. Like it's got everything you want and more. A card game developed by a whole other team. Like, it's the fucking full package, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever brought up as like a one-to-one remake of like an older game or anything.
No, I'm just saying that's just like, you know, it's just impressive that they made these choices, is what I'm saying. Like, nobody was saying that about it. It's just like they could have done that for Final Fantasy VII Remake. It could have just been that game, but different combat with nicer graphics. No changes.
But then the same, like in that same idea, then it would be way lower on the list.
Yeah. I'm just highlighting its pros. You know, I'm just singing its praises. This is me fighting for it because I do think it is the best game that came out last year for me personally.
I also think that the vast majority of the content in that game is borderline fluff, and it is not something that I would have ever wanted to interact with, and that's why I just skipped it. There was nothing that I was other than Queen's Blood. I literally was just like, I don't really give a shit about any of this. I don't really care about the chocobo racing. I don't really care about doing the special bosses on the side.
What's the weird board game that you play? Not Queen's Blood, but the other one.
I don't know.
The one where you like control, it's like an RTS, and there's like bases, and you have to attack the other person's base. What is that?
Fort Condor.
One remake? Yeah.
I like Fort Condor, man. That shit rules.
That shit was fun too.
It's kind of Unicorn Overlord, but inside of Final Fantasy, if you think about it.
That's the thing, is it like it has something for everyone. Like, my thing was Queen's Blood, and maybe like one of the other things that I can't even remember now. Like, I did have a few mini games I actually kind of liked, but like stuff like that. Like there is stuff for everyone in that game, and nobody, I think, in their right mind should fuck with all of it. And if you do, that's fine. But like, there's something for everyone, and if you don't want any of it, it's okay, because the main course is good. Period. Like, the main path, the thing you're paying for, is a quality product, and you don't have to do any of that other bullshit if you don't want to.
Yeah, and in my mind, the thing is that I only interacted with the main portion of the game, and I think that the main portion of the gameplay was not as good as Unicorn Overlord.
Okay,
I thought
and
that
that's fair.
The gameplay for Unicorn Overlord was significantly just. I mean, like, it's for Rebirth, the gameplay is remake, but better. And definitely with stylistically different choices that allow you to interact with the game more, pay attention more, and feel like you have a greater like locus of control.
Yes,
but But in terms of like the actual gameplay itself, I feel like Unicorn Overlords is just too fucking unique, satisfying.
Yeah.
That I can't look at the main gameplay of Rebirth and then be like, wow, I would rather do this over and over again than play Unicorn Overlord. I would absolutely rather play Unicorn Overlord. The thing about Rebirth is that, like you said before, it being like this holistic package, like that it all kind of drives itself, right? You can't really have one component of the game without the other. It's all like one great experience that exists within itself. Whereas like, I mean, like for better or for worse, Unicorn Overlord, it really exists almost entirely off of just the interpersonal relationships as well as the way that the gameplay operates.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I love it so much, is because the gameplay is literally just that good, where it does carry the other aspects of it. And I would rather be playing that game than Rebirth any day of the week. So,
Chandler, any thoughts?
Yeah, again, this is tough for me because I feel similarly about both. I mean, I think they're both good games in extremely different ways, and I could if we swapped this order or kept it, it wouldn't really hurt me either way. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is like I see the arguments for both. That's the thing that's challenging. I mean, I guess if this is really the deciding factor, I mean, I would have considered Unicorn. If both of you guys were like Unicorn has to be number one, I would have been happy with that. But you're not.
My issue is that I think, even though, and here's where I could concede to Unicorn being number one. So this is that half of the coin, is that Unicorn is very unique and fucking incredible, no doubt. Love it. Great gameplay. Very few games like it. That being said, I definitely enjoyed my time with Metaphor a lot, and I want to go back and finish that, period. Like, I have no desire to go back to Unicorn Overlord, unfortunately. I wish I did almost, but I just don't have that desire to do that. Whereas Metaphor, I think about often, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get back in and do those fucking combats and hear the fucking music and see the end of the story. Like, I want that. So I lean closer to Metaphor if it's not Rebirth. That's, yeah, which I've already said all that, but made my final argument for Rebirth at least now. But yeah, I think I lean Metaphor over Unicorn. But Unicorn's amazing. If y'all both are like, fuck it, number one, all good.
I mean, if Merced's good with Metaphor number one, I think that is probably locked in at this point.
I'm fine with that.
I'm right with that.
But then the question is, how are we feeling about the rest of the order?
Either way for me, it's fine.
Hell yeah, we keep it this way.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Number one was the important spot. 2 and 3 are like interchangeable. They're like a tied,
I got a few of my games on there, so.
Yeah, it's like a photo finish for me, right? It's like they both are like milliseconds apart from the finish line. All three of these, for different reasons. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in shock that that we got Deadlock on this list. I really did not think that was going to happen.
Oh, it's such a good video game, though.
I think it really is just that fucking almost like carnal desire to play that game was very strange, coming out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about that game, but I mean they made the CSing, like the laning phase, so fucking fun, where you are actively always fighting throughout the entirety of that game, which I guess could be like a negative for a lot of people, but.
Okay, I'm gonna read out the list, and then that'll be our last chance to reorder things. Okay, so where we're at right now: number 10, Deadlock; number 9, Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess; number 8, Helldivers 2; number 7, Mouthwashing; number 6, 1000 Times Resist; number 5, Astro Bot; number 4, Stalker 2, Heart of Chornobyl; number 3, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth; number 2, Unicorn Overlord; and number 1, Metaphor ReFantazio. And go ahead, Crossley.
We don't want Kunitsu-Gami higher?
I would hear it. What are you thinking?
I think
could
it's better than Helldivers, Mouthwashing, and Thousand Time Resist. Just me personally. So it's up to you guys, I guess.
Merced?
Definitely higher than Helldivers,
Sick.
I would say.
Okay, last minute edition here. So we're changing 9 and 8. Is there anything... Oh, fuck, what just happened? Is there anything else that we need to do to this list? Thank you.
I mean, no.
Okay.
I think it looks good.
It feels pretty good. I will say the one thing that's standing out to me right now as like an interesting, I guess, difference. Japan very highly represented on this list.
Wow. Who would have thought?
Because like, I mean, it felt like for many years there wasn't a lot of like it wouldn't have been like, oh, more than half the list is Japanese games. You know what I mean? Like, and especially like number 1, 2, and 3 all Japanese developed titles, which is really interesting. Kunitsu-Gami obviously also. Astro Bot, I get. I don't know where that studio is.
Yeah, it's Sony proprietary, isn't it?
I guess.
Oh, Team Asobi was Team Japan. They're located in, they're like one of their first party things.
Yeah, I'm typing in. They are in Tokyo. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, so final list: 10 Deadlock, 9 Helldivers 2, 8 Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess, 7 Mouthwashing, 6 1000 Times Resist, 5 Astro Bot, 4 Stalker 2 Heart of Chornobyl, 3 Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, 2 Unicorn Overlord, 1 Metaphor ReFantazio. Everybody
did it.
Feeling good.
Yes.
Thumbs up. That didn't take nearly as long as we thought.
Yeah, I think once we got it down to the 10, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, once we got past the DLC part, smooth sailing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It actually took us less time to do this than the categories, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right. I will publish this list. I think what we should do on the side is, I know Crossley, you've already done this, but let's each make our own list as well, just to have it for fun, and we can post that somewhere. But you know, for all intents and purposes, the official with a bullet infinite scale podcast list is this one here. So, you heard it here first, everybody. Metaphor ReFantazio, best game ever made. I mean, it's you know, it's, you can't argue it. Merced,
It was really good.
Merced is changing his mind as we continue.
It
I just
should
can't.
be Rebirth.
I can't believe in the year of our Lord 2025. It's just insane to me that we still have JRPGs.
Hey,
It's
man,
crazy, dude.
You know what's really funny is, I think that if you played it and got like all the mechanics, you know, kind of unlocked, and like you started doing the battle system, you'd realize that it has a lot more depth than you would have initially assumed. That was how it worked for me. I mean, I was like, at a certain point, I was like, oh, this game's actually totally different. Whoa.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I only got like, fuck, where did I leave off? Like right after the mines, basically. So like right after the dragon and all that, and then I went into the town. After the election started.
Yeah.
So I did all that kind of stuff. All that stuff was really cool.
Yeah, you did the prologue, basically.
Yeah.
Crossley is typing some drivel into the text document here.
This is what you asked for.
No, I know. He's typing his top 10. I haven't even thought of ordering mine yet, so I'm not going to do it right now. But I would just like to note that Crossley is just typing in a list of every single game he played this year and then ordering them.
I'll have you know, Deadlock, as well as
that's true.
Many others that go fuck yourself. No.
All right, guys. Appreciate the time. Was that fun? Did we have fun with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a good time. I enjoyed. We only got heated about DLC. That was it.
Well, also Crossley being like, well, I only play it with my friends, so it's not good. It's not good if you can't play it by yourself.
How many times did I have to re-clarify that I'm saying the game is great, but if I'm trying to combat it against this list, okay, well, what's not good about the game versus other games like it? Like, for instance, the other multiplayer games I played this year, I can queue up by myself and play with randoms and still have a pretty good time. Whereas Helldivers heavily leans on my friends to be a good experience. Playing that game with randoms is not fun.
I don't know, dude. There's no fucking shot in hell I'm playing Deadlock or Marvel Rivals by myself.
Sure, and that's fair for you, but that's not true for me, which I was making the argument for myself. Yeah. I would never play Helldivers by myself. I could play the other comparable multiplayer experiences by myself, and against the list we are trying to make, which is a stacked list, that's all I was saying. The game is great. Like, I don't know how to not make that very clear. I fucking love Helldivers too. The list is stacked.
I'm trying to think of a multiplayer game I have played by myself. And I feel like League of Legends was it. And even then, it was only like occasionally. I don't know of a multiplayer game that I would ever play. Like, and I don't mean like if it had a single player mode, like Left 4 Dead style. I mean, I don't really count that. But I mean like a multiplayer, like a versus style, or whatever, a game that's intended to be multiplayer primarily. I can't even think of one. So I guess Helldiver 2 is not versus, so it's kind of a different argument. But yeah, I don't know. I just, multiplayer games are made to be played with people that I know, I guess, in my mind.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
If I'm by myself, that's single player time.
Yeah. You got to take some time to get through all the games, right? All right.
Yeah, basically.
We will wrap it up here. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody for listening. And next time, who knows what we'll be talking about? I mean, we're only a few weeks away from Monster Hunter Wilds. We are a week, like 8-9 days away from the next Sid Meier's Civilization coming out. There's some games coming out.
Is that Game Pass?
I don't know.
2K Games is not owned by... No, they are owned by Microsoft. No, they're not. They are. Yeah, because they're owned by... No. Wait. My brain is like totally... No, they're not.
I have no idea. But it's funny you should mention...
No, they're owned by
Take-Two.
Take-Two. Yeah, they're owned by Take-Two.
That's easily Game of the Year next year.
What is? Sorry? Monster Hunter?
Monster Hunter, yeah. Easily.
Yeah. I think you were not listening when I said it, but yeah, Monster Hunter's coming out in like 26 days or something.
That's what I was saying. It's funny you should mention it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, is it going to be Game of the Year? I hope to God not. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm open to it. I mean, I listen, the way I see it right now, it has a slim chance of being better than Wild Hearts or whatever the fuck that game was called.
A slim chance.
A slim chance of being better. If it does end up being better, then I'll consider it. But
I'm excited. It's just gonna be good.
Yes.
All right, guys. Peace.